Hello. I'd like to tell you about my experience last week attending the International Macrobiotic Conference, NonConference. What happened is that every year there is an International Macrobiotic Conference. And of course, with Corona, for a while, it hasn't been going on. So a few months ago, the call went out that we are having a conference, and lectures were proposed and people were accepted to be presenters there, and I was among them. So I was really pleased about that. I really looked forward to the opportunity to share my experiences, to reflect on them, and to see friends old and new that I hadn't been together with for quite a while. I, luckily for me, had three good friends who expressed interest in traveling with me or meeting me there. And that was a big plus, since I haven't really traveled by myself for the past 25 years of married life. King Corona had other plans. At one time, Israel had been among the safest countries on the health map. And now it had changed into a red country, which I quickly learned had nothing to do with politics and everything to say about rules and regulations. So of all the countries in the world, Portugal closed its doors to Israel. I contacted a local travel agent here who told me that the only way to go was to fly to Madrid in neighboring Spain and take an overland bus ride for 11 hours to Lisbon. Well, that seemed like quite a lot. Plus the bus left once a day only, and I would have to stay overnight in Madrid waiting for the next day's bus. And finally, to cap it off, I had no idea about quarantine restrictions. I couldn't get hold of any embassy or anybody to give me the lowdown. So by this time, my travel companions all got cold feet, fell off the fence, and I also threw in the towel. Two things happened. One is that Portugal reopened its doors, as was sure to happen. The second thing is that the organizers of the conference canceled the event. Apparently, I wasn't the only one with travel trouble. In the same breath, they offered to host a 3-day informal gathering at the IMP, the IMP, which is the Institute of Macrobiotics in Portugal. So elation, disappointment, elation. By this time, I went to the travel agent and I was no longer able to get the 3-day trip that I had been planning. So I opted for a week of fun and sun in Portugal. Well, that's great. WhatsApp correspondence flew among 16 initial participants, and my excitement grew for this non-conference. I was anticipating beach tours and castle trips. Other people had ideas about group interaction and bonding exercises. It didn't matter. We planned our meals, dinners were offered, lunches secured, and accommodations made. So we gathered for a self-determined combination of all of our desires, and especially for friendship and camaraderie. I was so pleased to meet many old friends and even ones that I had never met, having hosted them online at the Whole Health Macrobiotic Forum. Daily excursions became a highlight of my experience. It was a way to be outdoors in good company, exploring beautiful places and exchanging ideas. Lisbon particularly has both small streets and busy boulevards that are covered with beautiful tile work, very small mosaics all over the building fronts, and the sidewalks and the streets is just beautiful. They have a river, a tributary of the Atlantic Ocean, their shoreline. The whole country is on the Atlantic Ocean, and the Tejo riverfront was beautiful to walk along, both invigorating and somehow relaxing at the same time. It's a hilly city, so it gave a good workout everywhere we went, both coming and going. The hostess of the IMP is Ginat Varatoja, and she arranged for me very kindly to stay at the center, this macrobiotic center, in very clean and perhaps sparse accommodations. What fortune. There was no way that another person could have stayed there with me in that small space, so good thing that no one else took me up on the offer. I had my own kitchen with every top quality macrobiotic ingredient at my fingertips, if I could only figure out what it was in Portuguese. I enjoyed fabulous IMP lunches daily, almost reason enough to move to Lisbon. A Japanese-Swedish participant came one morning to where I was staying, to the kitchen, to demonstrate miso soup in a very precise Japanese style. I really appreciated how she sliced the vegetables into really thin matchstick cut, and then cooked them in a very small amount of water, along with wakame and shiitake mushroom, to extract their flavor. And then she added broth that she prepared from the cuttings and the peels of the vegetables that she used. And she wasn't shy about the amount of miso that she used to make a hearty, delicious soup. So I really appreciated that. I was honored to share several heart-to-heart conversations with Ginat Varatoja. It's been 3 years since her husband, Chico, who was founder of the IMP, transitioned to non-physical. Although she misses him, she's not consumed by sorrow anymore. She has complete faith and no fear, knowing, as Osawa taught, that everything is perfect. She's taken up painting with considerable talent and just wants to enjoy life. So it was very heartening for me to compare and discuss my situation together with hers. On my first night there, I was treated to a private desserts class. I always appreciate a good dessert without baked flour, and they made a delicious chocolate mousse that fit the bill. My pleasure was to have the conference spontaneously discuss topics that each one of us chose to present. So we talked in round robin form, which was great because everyone was able to participate. And we talked about what macrobiotics means for each of us and our personal dream of involvement in its future. We discussed how to present macrobiotics in easily accessible terms for people who may not relate or even know about this way of life. So we agreed that we are united more by ideas, actually, than by the details of our practice. So cooking techniques and ingredients are less important than the dream of one peaceful world. We closed with the idea of macrobiotics as a lifestyle of balance from home-cooked food that facilitates personal change. Commercial food is the bottom line cause of all disease, and this was an idea that Michio Kushi had put forth. No one can chew our food for us. It's up to me. In contemplating our personal dream within macrobiotics, many people were enthusiastic about the possibility of creating a land-based community, such as is being constructed now in Denmark, among other places. Also, Czech Republic, there are several of them. Also, people sought frequent gatherings, which is always a nice opportunity to get together. The more senior teachers vowed to support, to empower, and to allow newer practitioners. One man stated, "I'm always inspired by gatherings of macrobiotic friends," and his wife sought to inspire. She said, "Change your food, change your mind. In times of difficulty, we all have one another." And a woman from Portugal said, "We are living the dream. Portugal is an ideal macrobiotic community." So that was nice to hear too. Melanie Waxman presented an inspiring and informative explanation of healthy coaching or counseling. She has extensive experience counseling at the Shah Wellness Center in Alicante, Spain. It's not about fixing anyone, is what she said. Be professional and be yourself, making sure that your client smiles. She advised us to be comfortable with uncertainty, using beginner's mind and trusting the process. We don't have to know all the answers to advise someone else. She doesn't like having pre-session forms for the person to fill out because she finds it's more important to connect with the client than elicit details about personal lifestyle habits. She thinks that this mitigates the stress and encourages practice and compliance. She gives homework and she follows up regularly. I was really surprised and pleased by the request for my talk that I had prepared before the conference was canceled on the yin yang of grief. We pulled our chairs close together for support, this being a topic that touches us all. I spoke almost entirely from my personal experience, building on the 5 transformations theory to illustrate the stages of mourning as introduced by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in the 60s. I offered several brief meditations and breathing exercises to support the lungs, the seat of mourning. And I finished with a walking meditation. I had learned this here at home, and at this point here, everyone would sedately put one foot in front of the other in slow motion movement. In Portugal, our macrobiotic group gave way to swinging bodies and swaying circles and spontaneous vocalizations as we expressed deep emotion. The wishes or prayers are, may I be brave, may I be strong, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be at ease. These metta prayers were also likened to the 5 transformation model. We had wonderful outings and gatherings. Another talk was by Simon Brown. He gave a wonderful presentation on combining the 5 transformations with an understanding of yin and yang. It was a real pleasure to be in the company of macrobiotic teachers and experienced practitioners to learn together on this advanced level. I gave a second presentation on palm reading, and we followed that up with a constellation session, and then went to one of many local beautiful restaurants, one Japanese, one vegetarian, another along the waterfront. Everyone felt good, as far as I know. The group was respectful and embracing, and there was always someone willing to have a talk, go for a stroll, and offer an opinion. For me, the highlight of the entire non-conference was its relaxed and feminine nature. Not only were the majority of the participants women, the atmosphere was stress-free and inclusive with a fluid timetable. There were no arguments, there was no censuring, there was no beginning and ending time. It was flexible. As I mentioned, the round robin discussions gave everyone a chance to speak freely. The small and the personal actually became more significant than the official and the approved. The conference was devoted to open discussion and created in this way a rare opportunity to hear and to be heard. I was really impressed with the spirit of goodwill that prevailed. Macrobiotics, as everything, needs these invaluable loving gatherings. This was an assembly of decent, honorable, and well-meaning friends with noble intent. Our common goal is to see justice and good prevail in the world. We can consider ourselves well contented to be of service. Our group was one of dignity and integrity. So I'm really pleased to have been honored to be a part of it and to share my experience with you. Bye-bye.